Don't Block Your Best Blessings Festival. Yes, we're live. Hello. Don't Block Your Blessings Festival. This is my second year participating in the festival. I'm so thrilled. Arezu is such a creator and community connector, and really an honor to be here. And if you haven't had a chance to see all the other artists and creators and healers, make sure you do so now. After, it's going to be going on for the next hour, so please do enjoy and continue to support the work of incredible humans in the world, just trying to create more spaces for connection. I'm Kimmy Duenas, and I am so happy to be with you all tonight, tomorrow, whenever this is going to be viewed. And I do a lot of different things that led me here to this moment. I am a well-being guide, and so that means I like to use modes of mindfulness and meditation and yoga to help people connect more deeply with themselves. But I also have a background as an educator. And for years, I worked at different schools, and I created programs and different things. And a lot of the work I did was centered around identity and around history and how that informs who we are. And so the work that I do now is kind of a fusion of all of the things that I love, all the things that I've been able to gain experience in. And what I'm bringing to you tonight is an opportunity to explore where you come from, who your ancestors are, and how that might support your quest of understanding yourself. So much of my own journey has been informed by exploring my ancestral lineage, exploring the cultures that I'm a part of, and exploring the kind of wisdom that can support me in my everyday life. And so I'm excited to do a little bit of mindfulness, do some reflection practices today, and hopefully spark a little curiosity about who your people are and where you come from. So much of that journey of exploring who we are now in this life, who we're meant to be, what our purpose is, how we connect to ourselves and to each other. A lot of those questions can be answered, of course, with our inner wisdom, but so much of that is gleaned from what we gathered from all those who came before us. So before we get into it, just a couple things that we'll need for this little period of time. Something to write with, so go ahead and grab a journal, paper, pen, and also make sure you kind of have a comfy space. And if you're feeling like you want to move, I invite you to move. If you're feeling like you want to stay seated, absolutely stay seated. There is only the right moves that is your move. Nothing else, nothing more, just doing what feels good for you. So give everyone a moment to get those things, comfy space, something to write with, and then we'll get started. So again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Kimmy Duenas, and by the way, I have been based in LA for most of my career, but I've recently made the move to my own ancestral land, to El Salvador, which is the home of my father, where my father was born and raised, and our families have been here for over 6 generations, and I've just arrived a couple days ago. And so being in this conversation and exploration of ancestry is very important to me. Clearly, I'm here on my own journey, and so hopefully here to support yours as well. Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to start with just getting really grounded, really present, and sometimes before we can go inward, we have to kind of understand what's happening outwardly. So I invite you to find a comfortable seat, or maybe you want to just lay down and lounge for a moment and begin to just kind of settle where you are, breathing and bringing your shoulders up to your ears and down and back. Begin to close your windows to the world and turn inward towards your heart, towards your spirit center. Slowly, gently beginning to breathe in deeply through your nose. Exhaling out through your mouth. Beginning to notice any tension in the body, what's speaking to you, what needs some love. Breathing into those spaces. And in a moment, you can reopen your eyes and just take a look around where you are. Look up above you. Notice what's on the ceiling, or maybe you're outside. Looking down below, noticing the position of your body, your hands, your legs, what you're sitting on, what's below you on the ground. Looking over your left shoulder, knowing what's around you, looking over your right. And sometimes just orienting ourselves can help us land a little bit more in our center. So after you've kind of taken inventory of the space around you, we can breathe in a little bit deeper. So I invite you again to take another full breath in and exhale to gently close your eyes one more time. And as you're continuing to breathe here, feeling your belly expand all the way out as you inhale. And as you exhale, you feel your stomach contract, breathing in deeply and exhaling completely. Again, just noticing how your body is feeling today, observing your seat, your bottom and the seat below you, the clothes against your skin, maybe if there's a gentle breeze in your space. As we continue to find presence in our current state of mind, our bodies, we can begin to journey a little bit more in the past. Imagining bringing yourself all the way back to where you were born, thinking about your upbringing, where you grew up, the city, the place, thinking about what it was like to be a kid where you grew up, tapping into that energy, remembering the people who raised you, any spaces that you went to commonly. Maybe it was families' homes, a place of worship, sports, the arts, anything that comes to mind when you think about you growing up. Think about your family. Maybe it's your parents or aunts or uncles, grandparents who come to mind. Imagine them, see them in your mind. And when you see your parents or grandparents, see if you can capture a sense of a marker of identity. Is it a cultural identity, an ethnic identity, maybe language? Identify a part of who you are in them. Take a mental note of that. And maybe part of the way that you celebrated your identity in your home growing up was through food, through stories, music, whatever it might be. And we're going to go back a generation further. So if you're thinking about your parents or even your grandparents, let's go further. So now let's go to your grandparents or even your great-grandparents, whatever you know about them. Imagining, even if you've never met them, thinking of the place where they come from, any stories that you have of their upbringing, the land where they lived, the language they spoke, perhaps their journey of immigration if they moved and traveled around. Really take yourself there. Taking a deep breath in, a full breath out. Imagining their life and inviting in any stories that you might know, stories of triumph and growth, and even stories of struggle where they had to find resilience and strength to move through their circumstance. We'll stay here for a moment. Wherever your ancestors are, wherever they are around the globe, and recognizing who they were, how they lived, is somehow now a part of you, whether it is something you think about or that is present in your daily life. It is a truth, it exists. So now think for yourself for a moment, what is present in your life that is connected to them? Is it in the food that you make? Some things that you say, maybe even habits, holidays that are celebrated perhaps. can also be a mentality, a state of mind. A state of mind that was carried down and passed through your lineage. Ideas of resiliency or passions, perhaps an abundant state of mind, or even were there certain things that we identify as things our ancestors were working on. Maybe there was fear, maybe there was a scarcity mindset. Perhaps we can recognize that within ourselves, and that's okay. We've all inherited lots of things. Just bringing to mind anything that comes. There's no such thing as good or bad, it's just what is, right? So we're just thinking about how all of that has carried us to this moment. If there's anything that's present in our lives from them. I'm going to take one more deep breath in. And a full breath out. And notice your feet on the ground once again to start to bring ourselves back. And I'll just take another moment here in this dreamy state. Imagine that you're at a table with your ancestors, with one of your ancestors or many of your ancestors. And at this table, you have the opportunity to ask a question, to hear wisdom from your ancestors. So at this table, you are seated. Maybe there's something to eat or something to drink. Perhaps you're outside, inside, in a special place. And your ancestors lean over and offer some wisdom for you. What do they say? Do they have insight on life? Do they share something specific to your family or to your culture? Take a moment to listen and take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. And as we begin to wrap up that conversation with our dear ancestors, we'll take a moment to express gratitude. So in your own way, you can give a gentle nod. You can place your hand over your heart. Maybe in your mind's eye, you're giving them a gentle embrace. Or expressing gratitude in your way. And when you're ready, you're going to bring your palms together and rub them to make them nice and warm, creating warmth between your hands. And then gently placing the inside of your palms over your eyes. And you'll gently flutter your eyes open. We'll bring our hands back down. And wherever you are, go ahead and grab your notebook, your journal, your paper, something to write with. And respond to this question of, when you think about your ancestors, what or who comes to mind? And that'll give us a space to kind of reflect on anything that might have come to mind, come to surface in our brief meditation together. If there's anything in particular that comes to mind, go ahead and jot that down. Writing is such a powerful tool of reflection, a mirror of our inner world in so many ways. And if you haven't had a chance to explore your past, your ancestry, perhaps this can be a window to that world that exists inside you. So give us a minute or two here to reflect on that question. When you think about your ancestors, what or who comes to mind? And if there was any particular wisdom that was gleaned out of that conversation in our meditation, go ahead and reflect on that, sharing any of those ideas or images that came to mind. And in a moment, I'll take another minute here, maybe two more, just giving us a chance to reflect. And of course, these questions, exploring our lineage, exploring any wisdom from our past and who we are and where we come from, this can be a longer journey for us. So definitely continue to write and reflect at your own time, and let this just be a space for planting some seeds. We can begin to open the conversation of self-knowledge through our own personal histories and see what that invites in. I can say that in my own life, as I've explored different forms of healing and wellness, I've found, in particular, exploring my ancestry to be very meaningful, very informative, and very illuminating for both the things that, both the ways that I want to tap into my own resiliency as I move through life and certain areas that I want to find strength, and also bringing awareness to why some things might be a little bit of a struggle, why there might be tension, perhaps things that are coming up on a daily basis or certain situations. By learning about my past or the different things that my ancestors have moved through, I could identify, ancestral trauma as well as ancestral resilience is very present in me, and this is similar to that, I see. So perhaps there's healing that can occur, not just for my present life. I can enjoy the benefits of that and the fruits of that. But that can be shared with all those in the rest of my family currently and in the future. So exploring ancestry is kind of like time traveling. It gives us the space to simultaneously be in the past, present, and future. It's pretty cool when we think about it. All right, so taking a moment to wrap up any last thoughts for that question. And as you come to a natural pausing point, we'll move into our next portion of our time together. And so this one might invite some movement or not, totally up to you. But intuitive movement is part of this journeying. And if you've never tried that before, it's really just letting your body move and tell a story to a certain idea, to a certain feeling. It's something really fun to try. If you haven't tried it, you can just put on some of your favorite music at home, different styles of music even, and just letting your body be free and express and move the way that it wants to. It's a pretty fun exercise. And so what we're going to do today is going to have something very specific to move to in whatever way feels good for you. And so with your paper aside for a moment, we're going to tap back into that ancestral energy, okay? And so close your eyes again and bring to mind a place, a time period, a culture, or a specific group of people that you embody, that you are connected to, that make up who you are. Imagining when you look in the mirror and you see your face, you see your hair, you see the color of your skin, the texture of your skin, the color of your eyes, the shape of your face. Recognize, those are my ancestors from X, Y, or Z. And just bring yourself to a specific group of people that you are connected to, that are present in you, and begin to imagine that you're living, that let me say it this way, that we're going to move through a day in the life of that ancestor, that you are being in that experience of your ancestor in a particular period of time or place. So choose from one of your identities, choose your own adventure here, where you want to go on your ancestral journey. Your ancestors from the east, from the west, were they farmers? They live or work outside? Were they city dwellers? Bring yourself to that particular space. And I invite you, wherever you are, either seated or in your space, to move around and start to walk or start to move like your ancestors were in the day in the life. So pretend that you're waking up in Europe, or you're waking up in South America, or you're waking up in wherever your ancestors are from, and you're moving through their day. If you knew their trade, if you knew what they did for work, if you knew what their routine was, maybe they were involved in politics, maybe they were involved with, maybe they were artists, maybe they were chefs, whoever they are. Start to move around and begin to feel into the energy and the rhythm of your ancestors. If they were people, I can say for my family, I come from a family of farmers. And so I'm imagining in my own mind and really feeling that energy of movement and being connected to my environment. It's another piece of your ancestry is the actual place. So you can imagine the sun beaming down on you, or if your family lived by a river, feeling, moving like the river that is connected to your people. Start to begin to move and tell the story of your ancestry in whatever way feels called to you. I'm tapping into the elements of my ancestors. We had a river by our home, the sun was always shining, tropical climate, fresh, beautiful grass and flowers all around. Wherever you are, whether you're sitting or you're standing and moving around, really feel into that. Feeling the motion of their world. And there might be things about this that feel natural and easy, and there might be things that feel maybe a little uncomfortable or awkward. That's okay. Breathing into it, feeling through it. This is just giving us a window into that world, giving us access to a little bit more knowledge inside of ourselves. Continuing to breathe wherever you are. My only wish is that I could see you, but I'm just pretending that everyone is doing their thing from all corners of the earth, all languages, all climates. And take one more minute or so just to move through that day, moving through the elements and the environment and space of where you grew, where your ancestors lived, and imagining where that's connected to you. Taking one more big breath here. Close your eyes, holding gratitude again, and really feeling into the energy of that space and time. And then finding your way back to your journal, your paper, and grabbing up pen or pencil. And what we're going to do now, after kind of tapping into our ancestors, exploring their stories a little bit, I invite you to come to join me in creating a ritual and creating a way to communicate with your ancestors. And so I'm going to guide us through a ritual creation process so you can have a tool for connecting with your ancestors and thinking about an intention here. So if this is the first time you're doing something like this, or not, whatever it might be, in this theme of connecting to where we come from and who we are now, we're going to create a remembrance ritual and a specific tool to communicate, to just feel connected to where we come from or who we come from. And so we'll start with an intention to do that. And so I want you to imagine, is your intention to ask for guidance? Is your intention to honor your ancestors and just express gratitude? Is it to celebrate who you are and all of the essence of who you are in your language, in your culture, in your people? Is the intention of the ritual to remember or to mourn? So thinking about what came up for you earlier today in our meditation, what might be important to you, what might be a ritual of interest, maybe something that you want to explore. Maybe you're wondering where to begin with your ancestral journey and what that means for you if you don't know much. So then maybe your intention can be to ask for guidance. And so after selecting your intention, we're going to begin the process of creation. And to do that, we're going to answer some questions. So I want you to think about a ritual that you already do in your life that you already like. Maybe it's a monthly ritual of taking a dip in the ocean, or maybe it's a weekly ritual of lighting a candle and expressing gratitude. Maybe it's a daily ritual of meditating and journaling. Think about a ritual that you already like, that you do in your life. Think about what you like about it, what's effective about it, why it brings meaning to who you are. And so from there, we'll begin to create our own ritual. I want you to think about where you would like to do this ritual. Is it outside? Is it indoors? Is there a space of particular meaning to you and your ancestry that you have access to? Think about when you would like to do the ritual. Is it something that you want to do daily, weekly, during a specific time of the year, on a full moon, on a new moon? So far we're thinking about where, thinking about when. And now we'll imagine what kind of actions or tools that we want to have included in this ritual. And so this can be anything like consider elements. If you want to have a candle involved, if you want to ground your feet in the earth, if you want to be painting and because somebody was an artist in your family, you want to be cooking because that was an important part of your family story. Thinking about any tools or actions. Is it a prayer? Is it through writing? So consider the what, the where, the when. And lastly, we'll think about who. Who will be involved in this ritual? Is it just for you? Or do you want others present? Maybe it's family members, loved ones, people in your community, from your tribe. So far, we have what's the intention, and then the who, what, when, and where for our ritual. And then lastly, to put it all together, think about how you want to feel during and after your ritual practice. And keeping your intention in mind is the feeling of being a little bit more grounded, feeling more aware, feeling more comfort, feeling more resilient, feeling progress, feeling connection, whatever it might be. And the final step here is to imagine all of those elements coming together into one beautiful ritual. And based on these selections that you want to incorporate, come up with a couple of ideas of how you could combine all these things together and create your own mini practice of mind, of body, of heart, to connect with your ancestry and who you are. And this tool and this ritual is a way not only for you to connect, but it also gives you access to different parts of yourself. And it can be something that you use at any moment in time. Perhaps in the moments where you're feeling a little disconnected or like you have questions about who you are, but also maybe when you need it most and you're feeling like you have those questions and you want something to turn to, you have this in your back pocket. Or if you're feeling like you're ready to dive in and learn more about yourself and your family, you have an access point here, something to begin that journey with intention. So wherever you are, hopefully a few ideas are coming to mind. And one of the cool things that I've discovered in this work is that you can be a creator of anything you want as long as it serves you. I think very often we see the way that things are done or the way that other people do things, but what's beautiful about ancestral journeying or self-exploration is that it's so unique to you. And so you have all the space and all the permission in the world to be a creator and to be a collaborator with the tools in the world that already exist. So with that, I offer a blessing of creation and connection. May you find new and meaningful ways to connect with yourself through where you come from and all those who came before you. And may it serve you here and now and all your years to come. Wishing you all well. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I hope that your rituals bring you connection and celebration and curiosity. And feel free to share what you're doing and how it supports you with other people. Because when we all grow together, and it makes the world a little bit better. We still have about half an hour of the festival left, so make sure to tune in and check out all the other artists and healers on the Don't Block Your Blessings website. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Adios.